Immediately following the predictable box office performance of the Super Mario Bros. Movie in 2023, Nintendo and Illumination began talks to expand the franchise with spin-offs and a sequel. Based on the widely popular Super Mario Galaxy game series amongst many other classic games that inspired it, the Super Mario Galaxy movie follows a similar premise to its predecessor, with a bigger scope, more Easter eggs, broader storytelling, and more characters. I've seen plenty of people bashing on this movie, and I genuinely don't understand why. This is great fun that adds neatly to the lore building, but some may not appreciate the lore changes that this movie made, which is something that I didn't appreciate either. Nevertheless, at least this movie is still miles ahead of that overrated and mindless Minecraft movie that came out last year, and it's also exactly what you'd expect from an Illumination production. It's so multiversal that it has to be taking us in a new direction of video game adapted movies. So, what made this Mario sequel follow neatly in the footsteps of its predecessor? How does it give its audiences a good sugar rush of energy? And why does it make several changes for the greater good? In today's movie review, I'll be talking about the most controversial animated sequel to the most controversial animated movie, the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Here's what makes a video game adapted movie fun and brainless at the same time. By the way, off topic, but using a 1900s camera to simply record cam footage in spoiling the movie major is not only a sign of slowing the box office numbers down even more, but also a cheap way to get film footage in the most laughable way possible. If you're doing that, you're pretty much wasting your precious time in not waiting for the film's digital release. So just try to chill down and relax and enjoy the cinematic adventure on the actual big screen, whilst waiting for it to release on digital to try and not spoil it for anyone on social media. Starting with, this movie's animation is absolutely gorgeous, much like the first movie. I think it's also worth mentioning that this movie had a budget of $110 million, and it still looks like an absolute masterpiece that you could fit right into an art museum. No, it's not because it's set in space and therefore it looks cooler, but it perfectly translates the gorgeous, stylish, planet-hopping effects of its source material and makes some of the most gorgeous sequences in the entire movie. The landscapes, planetary mechanics, and stunning intergalactic fight sequences show the amount of effort to animate this. This is easily Illumination's best looking movie by a country mile, no doubt about it. If we were to rank anime movies based on their animation, this would be near the top. This is something that you'd find from the games that also builds on the greatness of its predecessor. Something else that this movie improves upon its predecessor is the characters. Thankfully, the characters aren't as bad as they were before. They fixed most of the issues from that film where the characters in there were forgettable and lacked substance that made them more memorable than their video game counterparts. Starting with the voice cast, all reprise their respective roles from the first movie, and they are joined by new cast members, Donald Glover as Yoshi, Glenn Powell as Fox McCloud, Benny Safdie as Bowser Jr., and Brie Larson as Rosalina. They all provide loads of fun, classic energy with multiple surprises along the way, and I love that Fox McCloud isn't here for no reason. He's like someone ripped right out of Star Wars, like he's Han Solo or something with his air wing. And he does so well on capturing that 90s feeling of the nostalgia that people that grew up playing the classic Star Fox games on the Nintendo 64. All of the new additions sound very good, just like in the games. Another improvement I can list here is the music score by Brian Tyler, aka the most underrated film composer. Gone are those pop culture songs from the original. Now the film uses proper orchestral music that matches Super Mario Galaxy with the massive, sweeping orchestral renditions of classic themes that give me plenty of goosebumps due to how amazing it is. It perfectly captures the cosmetic world building that builds upon its predecessor with a larger scope. Brian Tyler composes the iconic tracks from plenty of games and ensures that the film is as gorgeous as it looks. It's criminal how nobody talks about how great his music can be for movies. They just sound so right in any movie he does. He knows how to respect the source material in addition to mixing in his own musical notes to make the film's soundtrack feel massive and come instantly to life on screen. Something else that this movie has going for it is the amazing action scenery that adds to the quick and speedy pacing, and also the animation. I remember saying this before, but the fast pacing in this movie just adds up to the vibe of speedrunning this game, which is a common thing in these games. While it does get a bit fast at times, this movie, like the first, is over before you are just started watching it. It doesn't stop for a second. Every sequence makes use of its hour and 14-minute runtime, so you can definitely keep up with the story and see what's going on. As for the action, it's all spectacular, like the ones with Bowser Jr., the entire sequence with Mario and Peach in a Super Mario Maker-esque sequence where Jr. builds a level for them to play, and the last one with Dry Bowser and that dragon boss from Super Mario Odyssey. They help add the vibe of rushing through tough boss fights that go on for a while and are extremely action-packed all the same with power-ups, etc. Lastly, it's hard not to say that this movie is indeed a love letter for fans. If you're a massive Nintendo fan like me, this movie is quite literally Easter eggs galore. It features cameos from characters everywhere from games, Fox McCloud is here too, and it also even pays tribute to games other than Super Mario Galaxy. There are references to games such as Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island, like the scenes with Baby Mario and Luigi riding on Yoshi, the new Super Mario Bros. Series, Super Mario Maker, Super Mario Odyssey, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Sadly, Donkey Kong doesn't make an appearance unlike the first, and he only makes a brief cameo appearance during that epic Yoshi sequence, but it might be something that he might be returning in a spin-off movie, as there's plenty more to be coming around from this series. It's such a fever dream that shows Nintendo throughout the years. I have two sprawling negatives that hold this movie back, which also kills it slightly. The first negative is that the lore changes are just awful. Sure, it tries to do something new that wasn't seen in the games, but the worst change by far was with the relationship between Peach and Rosalina. For some reason, Nintendo tried to copy and paste the exact sister-sibling relationship between Elsa and Anna from the Frozen series and turned the characters into cosmic sisters, something that was never explained in the games at all. No offense to Miyamoto himself, but this completely ruins the origin story between these characters and makes their development even more complex. No substance adds to it at all. Making matters even worse, Miyamoto himself said that the relationship change is indeed canon to the games, which again makes no sense, as this should have been canon for just the movies, not the games. Otherwise, it completely misses the great storytelling of the games. My second and final negative on this movie is that the plot is very overstuffed. While the Easter eggs are fun, they are placed everywhere in the movie, making the experience feel like a 90-minute commercial for Nintendo, which is not a good sign. I also wasn't a fan of Bowser's character, as his relationship with Mario should have been an unlikely team-up in this sequel, just like in the RPGs, but at the end it leaves his character completely left in the dark void. Rosalina also barely gets any screen time at all, since the film wants to focus on Fox McCloud and Yoshi. She appears a little bit at the start, gets trapped into a glass bubble, and then does nothing throughout the entire movie. She doesn't even appear in the final climax. There's also barely any room to breathe due to how fast the film is going with the pacing. It makes the plot feel overstuffed with lots of filler. It does way too much for its runtime, and the characters are way too much here. It tries to shift its narrative to one point after another, and therefore gets extremely overstuffed. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is an absolute fever dream for someone who's been playing these games for years. While I don't think it's as bad as people say it is, I still don't think that it's the greatest animated movie out there, as I've still seen way better. Still, at the very least, the animation is absolutely incredible, the visual style is also stunning, the character development is better, the cast chemistry is also enjoyable, the pacing is brisk, the action is epic, the music is excellent, and it's a massive love letter for fans. But the lore changes really weren't as good as I had hoped, and the story does get way too overstuffed for its runtime. Despite those, this is still a decent little skirmish that I didn't really mind, and I definitely did enjoy it. It's definitely a controversial movie, but so was the first one. I'd say that it's still a bit better than most of the other live action movies that Disney has produced, and it's also way ahead of that terrible Minecraft movie, and of course the live action Super Mario Bros. Movie we obviously don't speak about, but I've generally just had enough. It's not the best video game adaptation, and it can lead to some fatigue, but I still had a galactic blast. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is a decent video game adaptation for all ages, and will give a delightful sugar rush for kids alongside their parents tagging alongside the adventure.
Okie dokie!
Let's go! The Super Mario Galaxy movie echoes throughout the entire universe with its galactic scope, eye-popping Easter eggs, and brisk characters, even if its story and lore changes may lose a life or two for some. My final score for this animated sequel is an 8 out of 10 and a grade B+. It falls a bit flat at times, but it knows exactly what it wants to do, and I'm more than okay with it, as it's for the kids after all. I've been playing these Nintendo games for years, and I did find myself grinning throughout the entire movie most of the time. I hope we see more from the series, but in the form of spin-offs for characters such as Luigi and Donkey Kong. It's a franchise that, like the Despicable Me series, will keep on giving for the kids alongside the money that it makes, and will continue to keep spawning those movies until it all finally comes to a stop. But with that being said, leave a like on this video if you guys did enjoy my review on the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and also remember to subscribe if you're new, and hit the bell icon to see more content on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Take care of yourselves.